hearing. Are there any other questions from city council members? Councilman Dom, you wanted to ask a question? Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I have a question on the,
Talk closer into the mic, can't hear you.
thank you. I have a question on the pensions, or the pension costs. So it might be for Yuri to come up, I'm not sure. But I was noticing in the paperwork, the pension costs from 2011 went from 5.6% to today 36.3, which is, escalating dramatically, which is out of our control, because I understand it's a state pension. I'm just wondering, is there anything we can do here in figuring out how this is, because I don't want this to go to 40 or 50%, but this is a cost that's out of our control. I'm just wondering if there's anything we can do regarding the pension costs.
I would love to have the ability to do some of the pension costs. We have no control over the pension costs whatsoever. It's completely a state-run program, and PSERS, which we're a part of, and SERS, I think combined their liabilities unfunded liabilities over $60 billion. For perspective, in 2011, our payments were 5% of salaries. It's now 32%, and it's slated to go over the 5 years up to about 38%. The state did pass pension reform last year. It actually, in the first couple of years, cost us a little more money, the way the calculation worked, because you're taking people out of the fund into a defined contribution rather than defined benefit plan. It'll break even for us about 2032, and we'll start coming out ahead about 2041. It's the one positive of it, and again, obviously it's dependent in somewhat on what happens with the market and investments, and the state continuing to make its investments. It appears to have leveled off from the dramatic 5% to 32% we saw over 7 years, but it's still steadily growing, and as I said, we get a bill, and that's really how it functions.
Okay. I mean, what is the percentage, you say 60 billion, as a percentage, like I know Philadelphia's in the 45% funded. What is that pension funded?
PSERS, I think, is also in the 40s. I haven't looked at their most recent publication. They've been kind of in that general area now for a couple of years. They had a decent year last year in returns, but they're so far underwater that it'll take more than just a strong market.
And just from a dollar standpoint, when it went in 2011 from 5.6% to potentially in the mid-30s, what is that in actual dollars to the school district?
Ballpark 70 million to over 200 million a year.
70 to 200 million.
Yeah, in a year. I mean, that took place over 7 years, but 70 million a year versus 200 million a year.
Right.
Now, in fairness, I'm sorry, just
Pull your mic closer.
Sure. Just to finish the thought, we do get a partial reimbursement on our pension payments based on a whole series of factors from the state. So there, obviously, as our payment has gone up, our reimbursement has gone up as well. But even the net cost has gone up, has more than tripled.
Okay. And you're not working on trying to figure out how to solve that?
They won't let me.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I have another question I wanted to ask, if that's okay.
Yes.
This is just a question. The chief academic support in the budgeting in 2017, it looked like it was just under 35 million, and in 18 it went to 64 million. I was just wondering why that increased so dramatically.
Are you looking at the quarterly report? Just which page?
Page 51. You can get back to me. You don't have to.
Yeah, I think actually that may be in the budget book, that may be in the budget book, not the quarterly. So I'd want to
you can get back to me. Let me know.
Okay.
And then the last, just two comments. One is I've been reading about Newark and Patterson, New Jersey. This is for the board. They put washer dryers in high schools, and they've dramatically increased their attendance rates. And I'm just wondering if we could maybe do 10 or 5 high schools as a pilot to see if it would make a difference. And if it was a costing issue, I think we could probably go to the manufacturers and see if they could even donate the machines.
The stenographer did not hear.
It was a private conversation. It wasn't.
Did someone have a question?
I was just echoing the same thing. Can we get someone to donate the washer and dryers if we were to do that pilot?
And just to follow up, I don't know if we haven't specifically talked about that yet. I have read what you're talking about, but I can tell you that another thing I think to think about around the same topic is the color of our uniforms. So as a teacher, when my students were expected to wear khaki pants and white shirts, it was a critical issue. And I can't tell you, I used to buy Target out of white shirts at the beginning of every semester, and my colleague would buy Target out of khaki pants, in particular for the young ladies. And so I definitely think that that's something to be mindful of, and it's not off of our radar. It's definitely something to think about.
So let me just offer this. If you want to do 5 high schools, I'll either get one of the companies to donate it, or I'll support it and pay for it. But I'd like to see it happen. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Councilman, before we move off of that point, I do think in these situations, it's really important to at least do some minor background investigation about what problem those 2 cities were trying to solve, and if in fact we have that same problem, and if in fact that would be a solution to that problem before committing to
That's fine.
Purchase to have you get washers and dryers for us. But we should get back to you with some information about
That'd be
that
great.
would solve a problem for us.
Yeah, I think their issues were bullying.
Yeah.
And they found out from washer dryers it cut down on the bullying, but also increased attendance. So I'm happy to do the study.
Okay.
If it works, no problem.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other questions from members of council? Seeing none, we'll ask the clerk to read the title, the names of those who would like to raise concerns.
Anna Perng. Anna Perng. Raynell Brown Staley.
Thank you. Please identify yourself again for the record and begin your testimony.
My name is Raynell Brown Staley, and I'm Policy Director at the Education Law Center. ELC is a legal advocacy organization dedicated to ensuring that all of Pennsylvania's children have access to quality public education, particularly those most educationally at risk. Advocating on behalf of school children in Philadelphia is central to our work, not only because of the size and scale of the district, but because of the district and the students it serves have historically been underserved by the state public education system. As a statewide educational advocacy organization, we understand that Harrisburg has not, and often still does not, look favorably upon Philadelphia or understand its educational needs. So we're pleased to speak today about the issues affecting our local school board. At the heart of most challenges affecting our schools is a question of resources, both whether they are available for the students in schools that need them most and how effectively they're spent. The fact that Philadelphia schools simply don't have enough resources is in part a Harrisburg